Guys, this is installment
Number 7.
number 7. That's right.
You have the J&D Project's Bellows Restoration process.
And this is the end. This will be the last one.
We might have a short one to show it how it works or something.
Oh, I guess we have to have a short one to show installation.
But it won't be like more than a few minutes.
Okay, all right. Well, so we have this big piece of cowhide here. It's basically a whole cow. And this is the old bladder. And so what we're going to do is we're going to mark out, we're going to use a white pen, and we're going to mark out just this large part here. These pieces here, we're actually going to stitch those on. We're going to cut these separately and stitch them on.
Out of a separate piece of leather.
Out of a separate piece of leather, okay? But for now, what we're going to do is just get this football-shaped bladder marked out, okay? So we're going to begin this process now. And I'm going to hold and John's going to start marking. Yeah, you're getting up a little high, bud. Keep it.
Okay.
We're going to cut on a bias. This will just let us know where our minimum point is, so you don't need to give it any extra. You can probably space those out just a little bit more, John.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so you get the idea of what we're doing. We're going to be back with you when we have her done. By the way.
You're on.
I'm standing on it?
What?
Oh, the camera is on.
Oh, hey guys.
Oh, that's great. All right, well, we're hunting for a pin right now. John, keep looking for the pin.
Okay.
As you can see, we've got this one side cut out, and we've flipped it over and we folded it in half so that we can now mark the other side. And that way it'll be, the top and the bottom will be exactly the same. Because as we began to look at the old bladder, we noticed that it wasn't exactly the same. One side looked like it was just a little bit smaller or narrower than the other.
We were going to make the top lung chamber larger than the bottom one, but we figured out that if the amount of upwards travel, if that's bigger than the diameter of your snout, there will be an air blockage and it won't go through. So we're just making it 13 inches on the top and 13 inches on the bottom at the center line.
Yes.
So.
All right, John, you ready to mark? You want to do this marking? We'll be back with you as soon as we have this marked and cut out. Okay, so we've got this all marked out, as you can see. All right. Now, the thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to be putting contact cement on the parts of the bladder that actually are going to be contacting the paddles. And that way we start forming a seal. Now we're still going to put leather on the outside and nail them down, but we're going to go on ahead and put a seal here of contact cement. Now, in order to do that, we need to know what the center line on this is. So, John, do we have a tape measure in here?
I'll get one real quick.
Okay. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull this old bladder up, and then we're going to mark the center line, and we'll be back with you.
Go.
Why don't you explain?
Okay, guys, so this... The original mark that we did, we marked it on the bias that the last dude gave us with the leather. We just added about another inch just to make sure that we have plenty of extra. And all we're doing now is just cutting this side, folding it over when we're done to make sure that other side is nice and even.
Okay, so we're here cutting this out, and our camera person instructed us more perfectly on what we're doing. So we're apparently not cutting on a bias. you know, I always usually talk about bias being, you know, adding a little more to it. but a bias in sewing is something totally different. And I don't really understand exactly the explanation, but I just know it's different than what we're doing. So what we're doing is we're just adding some extra material for a very technical term called wiggle room.
Or idiot's mistake.
Yeah, or idiot mistake, space. So that's what we're actually doing here. So it's really not bias. Just wanted to correct that. We'll get back with you when we have this done. Okay, so we're going to try to just rough fit this right now. Nothing, no glue or anything. And we just want to make sure that we're trying to decide what we're doing here. So let's carry it on around here and let's just see how this looks. So you can kind of get the idea of how it's going to look. We have to, we're going to have to be careful and not have it stretched. So I think you got to come this way just a hair. There. But I think that is going to do us. I think we're going to be able to make that work. So that's what it's going to look like, guys. We're going to be back with you in a little while when we get to the next step. Okay.
Now go.
Okay, so we're going to have to use, you can come over here real quick. Once we get the bladder on, we're going to put these leather strips on and then use square head nails to secure the bladder. And so the problem is that these strips are not quite long enough to go all the way around. So we're going to have to cut multiple strips and glue them up. And I'll show you how we're going to do that in a second. But first, we have to actually cut the strips. Now, this is a very small strip cutting tool here. It's actually a little smaller than what we need for this project, but we're going to make it work. So once you get this thing started,
Do I have to have a straight edge first to start, or does it work?
no, you got to have a straight edge.
Even pressure?
But once you get her going,
That's
you just
slick.
have to keep it. And I think we're going to need about 2.5 for each row, and we need 3 rows. So we'll go on ahead and cut these other ones and get back to you in a minute.
Now it is.
Okay, guys. So what I'm doing here is I'm making 2 decorative pieces to go around the hanging pins of the bellows. And since this bellows was made in 1850, we're making 2 little placards of 1850. And I'm taking this leather edge coat. I went through and tooled it out, and then taking this little edge coat and filling it in.
You're doing that to darken the letters down, right, so they show.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
Very nicely done.
Thanks.
So we've got these strips are about 40 inches long, thereabouts. And actually they're 48 inches long. And so we're gonna have to join them together. And so I have already skived one of these down to just a feather down to a point. I'm going to do the other one, and then we're going to contact cement them together, and then we're going to stitch these, make sure they don't come apart. So I'll show you about skiving now. And we come up about 2 centimeters. That's the size of joint I'm making. And so I'm not too exact on this. I just like to kind of know where where to stop.
You're doing this, why? Why are you skidding it out?
So that the joint will not be thicker than the rest of the band.
And it'll look better.
Yeah.
Narrowed out.
Yeah, it's kind of like a lap joint. So it adds strength to the piece, and of course I have a cheap skiving tool here. But
Looks amazing.
why would I want to buy? I would want to actually buy something that would, oh, mercy. We're gonna have to recheck those measurements in a minute. Okay. All right, so when you put these all together, it will come down like that.
So we can, on the edge, so
Yeah.
we can see how it, there,
Oh,
see
so
how the joint's the same.
Mm-hmm.
width.
And so this contact cement's a little weird. Well, maybe it's not that weird, but it is different because besides having a very ineffective brush, because that brush is sunk down in the depth of that contact cement, so you got to wipe it off before you start. But all we do is just paint each surface, and then we'll let it sit for about 10 minutes and until it becomes tacky, and then we just put it together.
Okay, what are you doing now?
Okay, so we got our first piece glued up and stitched together, and we're getting ready to stain it. But before we stain it, we have to knock this edge off here because it just looks better when you do that. Now we're probably not going to burnish these sides, because that's really one reason why you do this, is because when you start burnishing, it actually kind of folds that edge back on itself. It curls backwards and it looks kind of weird. But by cutting off this little bit, as you can see, it gives you a little, when you stain it, it'll stain darker because it's the raw leather, it's not the skin side, and so it gives a little darker, and you get a little bit of a contrast there. So so in this case, that's why we're doing that. So
We'll be back.
hey everyone, so we have got the leather on. It's tacked up. We just have some small tacks, as you can see here, that's just holding the leather up because we wanted to make sure that it was all hanging straight and everything. But here it is. And so we're down a camera person because my wife's at her basket guild today. So it's just me and John down here. And one of us had to hold the leather, one of us had to tack, and we just ran out of hands, so we don't have our tripod. I don't even know what's happened to it, but at any rate, we're going to go on ahead now, and I guess our next step is going to be you can see we've got a center line marked here, and we're going to make sure that center line is right, because that was just estimated when we did a rough cut. And we're going to take contact cement and put on the wood side, and on the leather side we have to let it age for about 5 or 7 minutes, and then begin to stick it down. And then on front of that, then we have these leather strips cut. You saw that in a previous clip, I believe. And then these are going to get nailed onto like this.
With these nails.
Yeah, with our square head nails that we've made. Okay, so let us get a little farther along, and we'll turn the camera back on. Maybe we'll see if we can come up with a tripod or something so you can see some of the work as we're doing it. Get back with you in a minute. So right now what we're doing is, before we go any further, we decided to go on ahead and John is gluing up some leather coverings that's going to go over. There are 2 of them. So here's one here It's not been glued, the leather hasn't been glued together yet, but the idea is that we wanted to cover up these hinges, and in order to protect the leather that much more, the black leather, the bladder leather, and to make it maybe add a little more stability to the hinge itself, because these old hinges have a tendency, they kind of wobble back and forth, and so this will add some stability to it. So John, you want to go on ahead and finish that? I just wanted to show that. So we'll be back in a sec.
Okay guys, so we're getting these strips that are going on the wood part right here. He's getting them marked for where we're going to need to put all the nails. We're putting them at 2-inch spacings with a 1/2 inch of leeway on each side. That's because we only have 125 nails, and we did the math and we figured out that that'll be just fine. We didn't need like 300. We didn't need them that close together. And we're going to have a ton of sealant in there and everything. We'll show you that later. But he's just marking it, and then we're going to bring this over and make a, I think, 5/64 or something. I forgot what measurement we're doing, but we're just going to make a few little holes here. Pilot holes, yeah.
Bunch of these to do, so we'll be back when we got them done. Okay, so we are putting the adhesive on, and we've got to spread it out a little bit. It's just getting put on rough right now, but we're putting the adhesive on here. We've discovered that this is probably the best one to start with, the center one, and so we're going to go on ahead and get this finished up and get the leather pushed down on it, and we'll come back with you.
You to pull it as tight as possible.
Okay. All right, hang on just a second. So we are starting to put the nails in this center part here, and we're going to continue them on around. We'll let you see a couple of these, and then we'll cut the camera off, because there's no point in watching all of these go on. Sorry, too close.
Yeah. Just cut the. Perfect.
Okay, so
yes,
we are getting the first strip put in around here. These are square head nails that we've made, and we'll show you a couple of do a couple of examples here of
how we do it.
Of how we do it.
Yeah.
This wood is so hard and so old that we're putting some pilot holes in to get these started. It is just, it's like almost nailing into concrete.
When you don't have the pilot hole, that is.
When you don't have the pilot hole. So this is how we're doing it. Put one more in here. Okay, so we made these square head nails ourselves, and notice the tooling work that John did here. 1850, that's the age of these bellows. Excuse me, I got something caught in my throat. 1850 is the age of the bellows, so John tooled that in there, so it's on each side now, and I think it's going to look really cool once it's up.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back with you in a minute.
Okay, guys, so I think the last time you saw us, we were working on this middle row of nails here. And about, I don't know, maybe a week later, honestly, we started working on this up here. We forgot to film the bottom part. We're filming the top part, and Dad's trying to lift it up to show you here. And we've pumped the top down several times, and we have no leaks as we stand right now. and which is I think is just incredible from when we had a bunch of leaks before. So we're just gonna keep on working on this, and as we go, we'll tell you what we're doing and stuff, and everything like that. So we'll see you in a second. And as you notice, I forgot to say this, we were doing 2-inch spacings between the nails. Well, we figured out that that was not holding and it was leaking. So we had to come back through, make nails to go in between those. That's why it took us a week to get to this point. 2 weeks.
360 nails, I believe, is where we're at right now.
Yep, 360. We've already made tacks as well.
If you don't have
here.
carpal tunnel before 360 handmade nails, you will have it afterwards.
Well, we'll get back to you in just a second.
Okay, this is it. We kind of lost a couple of clips. We've had kind of a hard time the last 3 or 4 weeks. My wife's dad's not doing very good, and so that's been kind of a drain. And my work has been crazy, my day job, and there was about a 2-week period where my family passed some kind of a non-COVID virus around between the 3 of us, and so we had to not do much during that time and everything, and so somehow we kind of lost a couple of clips, but this is it. So the bellows is done. John is in school right now, and so he's not here, but this afternoon we're going to take this bellows back to the forge and install it. So we'll do a wrap up then, and John will be there to help with that. So we'll see y'all then. Anything, dude?
I don't know if she's recording, so.
Are you recording?
It's on now.
Okay. Okay. So we've got the bellows here. They're all done. And we're gonna reinstall them and into the forge now and see how it works. But here it is, and everything. So hopefully we'll get this thing put in and it'll work like a charm. Yep. So all right, let's move it. Go around the anvil. Okay. Go in first. Okay. And then can you work yourself around? You're going to go up over that post vise. Okay. All right. That's,
the blanket's kind of come off.
Okay, that's good enough for now. Hang on. Uh-oh. Okay, get this one on. Okay, now start pulling and put some tight on it. And here's this one.
It's going around like that. And this one needs to go around like this.
Okay.
We got way too much on here.
Yeah. Are you ready? Get just a little bit up.
Oh, we're on a knot.
Are we?
Up there, yeah. We're on a knot. Hang on now.
Okay, tell you what, dude. Just pull this one. Let's get it up like this. Let's get it. Okay, hang on now. Easy. Easy, just hold it right there. Can you back out a little bit? Get yourself a little bit of... Okay, no, I need you to go that way, buddy, because I got to get the ladder. Okay.
Don't. Just don't, okay?
And it's... Okay, so we're having a little bit of trouble here. because this thing weighs about 100 pounds, and it's kind of like trying to lift a human body over your head. You can't get a hold of it good. And so we've got to get it all the way up here to these holes way up here, because that's where those axles go. And so we're going to keep working on this, and we'll have to get back with you in just a minute when we get it to the next stage. Put the knife in like this. Okay. All right.
We're gonna have to unwind
Well, I
it.
dropped my knife, but don't worry about it. It's fine. Leave it where it's at.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
There's a knot in there.
I know. Let me get in there, buddy. I'll get in there and get it. Okay. Okay.
You're okay.
All right. I need to. Got to get my other knife out.
Hang on. Do you just want
I'll
me
just
to
get my other knife.
All right.
KG to the rescue. Where would we be if you wasn't watching KG? Okay. All right.
Last cover pin in.
There. Now see what you can do there.
There it is.
Okay. Now I take it down, and we're just going to bend it like that for now. We'll sort out what we'll do with it later. Okay. All right. Now, where?
We hooked the that wire was hooked to it. That's holding that up. That was hooked to this.
Righto. Okay. Now. Okay.
Careful, watch your feet, David.
Okay. All right. Let's lift her up. Okay, we got to go in there. Of course, it's all twisted.
Just hold her.
We got to decide where was it at? Was it at that?
We'll just put it there for right now, and then we'll see when we put the nozzle and stuff in.
Okay, I'm just going to bend it up like that for now. It'll be perfectly okay.
All right, let's put this nozzle on. See how it does.
Shouldn't we hook the chain?
No, we just need to see if that's on the right level.
Oh yeah. All right.
Let me get over here. Sorry, John. Come on. I'll have to cut some of this, but
Let's see here. Is that the way it went in?
It's gonna have to be.
Huh.
No, it's gonna have to.
Okay. Okay. Let me get over here. Where's the hammer at? I'm gonna be able to tap this thing down just a touch. Okay. Is that going in, buddy?
Yes, it is, Ben.
Okay.
Perfectly fine. Now I just need to push that in.
Hang on here.
I can't get back there.
It's okay. It's all right.
I know.
No, it's
Ding. We're gonna wait, and John's gonna pull it and see if there's a draw or not.
Oh Lord, look at that.
Look at the dust. John, move your hand a minute. Look at the dust fly. Look at that pull.
1, 2, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. About 5 seconds.
That's good.
And it's not near as hard to pull.
All right, what's making the?
It's the hinge. It needs grease.
Okay, we need a little bit of oil on that hinge.
Yeah, I can feel
It's a
it.
good thing we brought some oil with us.
Yeah.
Okay.
There it is. It
All right.
looks gorgeous.
Okay.
Now we just need to put the final touches, make sure that's all secure up there.
Yep.
John, climb up and show the 1850 on the side.
Oh, yeah, okay, come on.
Get a close-up view of them. I can't do that.
I don't know if we showed you this or not in the shop, but we put 1850 little placard on here made out of leather. I did all the tooling and painting on it. And there it is. There it is, guys. So it's looking really good. We'll shut the camera off and get everything put away and then do a little bit of an outro thing. See you guys in a second.